Good morning, Doxadeo family. I would like to share some familiar verses that I read this past week and that I just came to understand in more depth. In Genesis 2 verses 9, we read that the tree of life was in the midst of the garden. And in Revelation 2 verse 7, we read that to the one who conquers, he will grant to eat of the tree of life, which is the paradise of God. So straight away, we find Jesus in the beginning, in the Garden of Eden, but we also find him towards the end of times in the paradise. We also read that we as people are many times compared to trees, sometimes good trees bearing good fruit, sometimes bad trees bearing bad fruit. The most familiar one that comes to mind is the one that we read straight in the beginning of the book of Psalms, Psalms 1. But the passage that I would like to share with you is Jeremiah 17 verse 7, where it says, "Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, whose trust is the Lord. He is like a tree planted by water, that sends out its root by the stream and does not fear when heat comes, for its leaves remain green, and is not anxious in the year of drought, for he does not cease to bear fruit." The scripture verse that really showed me this whole parable of trees in a different light was this one, Mark 8 verses 22 to 25. "And they came to Bethsaida, and some people brought him a blind man and begged him to touch him. And he took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the village. And when he spit on his eyes and laid hands on him, he asked, 'Do you see anything?' And he looked up and he said, 'I see people, but they look like trees walking.' Then Jesus laid his hands on his eyes again, and he opened his eyes, and his sight was restored, and he saw everything clearly." Now Jesus wanted to open the man's spiritual eyes first, and he could discern people in the spirit, and they looked like trees. Only after that he restored his physical eyesight. I pray today that our spiritual eyes will be opened, and that we will see each other also as living trees, deeply rooted and bearing many fruit. Amen.